On this week with Mischief, I'm joined by the one and only Arekkz of Arekkz Gaming, and keep watching to find out why Arekkz said this.
Because you're behind a picture, because you're anonymous online, you feel like you're a big man and you can say whatever you want. It's like, no.
Or why I said this.
Why are you gassing about your buying games for? You don't buy games, blood. You
Wait. Hold on a minute.
We're talking about some of the absolute hype that is coming in November for gamers, so let's just jump straight in.
Alright, we're gonna hop straight in, yeah? From out the gate, November is looking mad, yeah? There's so many games, there's so many consoles coming out, yeah? From a creator standpoint, do you ever feel like your enjoyment for a game is curbed because you know you have to make content for it?
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely that aspect. Like, there's the underlying stuff is, you know, you still enjoy it, but it's kind of, I guess it depends on the way that you create content. Like we're all like guide focused, right? So like for us, for everyone that wants to kind of like get information, we have to get to the end of it first. And like in some respects, you think back to when you're at school, you're like, oh yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna go and blitz through it and just like play this game like the entire weekend, and you kind of want to do that. But now when a game comes out and you have to do that, it's like, I mean, there's times when it doesn't, there's times when it works, right? You're playing like one of those games, like a loot-driven one, and you want to get to end game because that's where the cool stuff is at, right? So you're like, yeah, all right, cool. You know, I'll run through and I'll get to the end, and it's kind of part of the enjoyment. But then when you get like a launch window like November, and you're like, all right, I know Valhalla is a game that I would quite happily just play for a week. Yeah. But I know that 2 days later, I've got to dive into Godfall and Spider-Man and like Demon Souls. Like, you just, the reality of the situation is, you know, I like, it's a weird thing to say as well. Like, I hate to sort of say like, oh, woe is me, I don't get to, you know, enjoy it. Like you say, but the reality is like, yeah, some of those games you won't get to enjoy properly.
Exactly.
Like, and
these are massive games. That's the thing.
Yeah.
These games are huge, like some of them that are coming out. So I'm saying it's not like back in the day where you could complete a game in 5-6 hours, or, you know, like let's say 10 hours for safety, yeah? And then do your review and then post it and then move on to the next game. It's not a rush thing, but it's like, well,
because that's what like YouTube is built on, right? Because it's like, ultimately, if you like, this is our job, right? So it's like, if you want to do this stuff, like the reality of the situation is you have to be first. You have to be in that initial conversation. Like, if people don't necessarily cover that stuff or do that stuff, they'll be like, well, why don't you just take your time? It's like, well, the reality is, if I take my time and I upload a video 2 weeks later, that's no use to you. Like, if I tell you, if I do a guide like 2 weeks afterwards, I'm like, here's how you defeat the first boss in Demon Souls, and you're like, well, I've already done it.
I've already killed him long time.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
but saying that, because this is something that I think about as well, me being like a new content creator. I think to myself sometimes, I'm like, should I really even bother doing guides and that? Because I didn't get the game early. What's the point in me, and this, I'm not saying this to you personally, what's the point in me doing a video when Arekkz has already slapped the video up from 3 days ago? But Arekkz has slapped the video up from time. Like, and do you know what it is, It's mad because I watched your, like, before like we knew of each other, I watched your videos from time. So I was like, okay, the quality is wavy, so I'm gonna go to Arekkz anyways. But it just seems so weird for me to say, like, as a new content creator, like, the question, what's the point, always comes through. And I'm saying this ain't towards you, this is just a general thought. But yeah, I feel like I know what you mean with the release window.
Yeah. No, the thing is, like, it's interesting because it's like, to answer that kind of question, like, what's the point? It's like, if it's what you want to do, then you kind of have to go through that gauntlet of grinding it regardless. Like, if I go back to when we first started, like, a lot of the time people will, you know, you'll get kind of comments and people will be like, oh, I wish I got like an Xbox early. I wish I got this game early. Like, oh, it's so unfair. Like, these big creators kind of get to do all this stuff, and like, yeah, that is difficult. It makes your life really hard. But I think back to when we started, like when we were like a new channel, and like, all these channels were getting like review codes, and all these channels were getting consoles, and like, we literally had to buy them. Like, our best bet back in the day was going to Shop 2, who used to deliver it to you 2 days early. That was our review copy, right? Like, you find your way to do that stuff, but like, the reality is, like, yeah, it's hard. Like, and if you were saying about the guide stuff, like, yeah, there's always going to be someone that will beat you to it. But if that's what you want to do, you have to kind of go through that initial thing of like, I'm going to cover the same thing. I just need to make sure my video is good. So when people start to organically discover me, they're like, I just like this guy's way of telling it. Yeah. And then you build it up slowly. It's a battle. It's a slow, hard battle. and it's rough because ultimately YouTube just feeds on the biggest guys get pushed to the top. So yeah,
The
it's
algorithm.
that's I hate the algorithm, man.
That's my my most hated word. I'm not gonna lie. That's my most hated word is when I hear the word algorithm, because I feel like it's just everywhere now, and I hate it so much. Have you seen the social dilemma on Netflix?
I haven't seen it yet. No, I need to watch it, but I haven't seen it. No.
Do you know the premise of it? It's the so it talks about just like how social media, like, it's almost like a massive like ad, and it's basically humans versus AI basically, and like humans just can't win when there's essentially a supercomputer that is targeting everyone basically on social media. But watch it in your free time.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
funny guy.
yeah. So in your if you get free time. So yeah, you'll say. So was that summarize that question I asked you at the start? Was that a yes to sometimes the enjoyment is curbed?
Yeah, definitely.
I think that sucks, man. I'm not gonna lie. I think that sucks.
Yeah, well, but the way you balance it, right, is like there comes a time where there's certain games where you just have to like protect them no matter what. Like amidst the team, like, you know, it's not just like me. It's like 2-6 and Paradise and Vestable. But like 2-6, for example, take him, like he's a massive Kojima fanboy. So when Death Stranding came out, he's like, I'm just playing the game. I'm going off the grid. I'm just playing this game, and I'm not gonna have anyone take my enjoyment. And for me, that's Zelda, right? So when Zelda comes out, when Breath of the Wild 2 comes out, like I will do coverage on it. But the first week it's out, I'm just going to play it, record everything without even thinking about it, enjoy it as I want to, and then I'll think about it. So I think the way that you kind of balance it out is, you know, that sometimes you're going to take the L on a couple of games and be like, I'm looking forward to this game, but I'm also going to cap my enjoyment on it because I'm going to have to like churn out videos. But you know that the games that are like truly like your number ones, like nothing touches that. Like that's how you balance it, I think, really.
Okay, so when certain games get the pass for you to just say, listen, content creation, I'm putting it to the side. Let me actually enjoy this first, and then okay. So I've seen you talk about Assassin's Creed Valhalla, yeah. Like, and it seems like from a social media perception, when I'm scrolling through my timeline and I see you talking about it, that seems like a game that you're excited for. Like, like super excited for. And I'm gonna tell you something. I haven't played an Assassin's Creed game since the first one.
Okay.
Since the first one. And I'm not even mad about it, you know. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not mad about it. It's only now watching so it's Odyssey before, right? Odyssey before, that's the Greek one. And it's only then it like caught my eye, and then Valhalla, it's like, yo, okay, now we're talking, something's different here. Enlighten me why you're so excited for this game, car. It's not just because you look like you could be in the game for real.
That's the one, man. No, but you know what it is, right? It's like, I mean, like Origins and Odyssey changed the Assassin's Creed formula. Like, some people like it, some people don't. Like, they definitely dial heavily more into the RPG stuff. It's got loot, it's got things like that. So you know, there's that cool aspect to it, which is awesome. But for me, I think it's because I like the Viking kind of history sort of time period so much. Like when it came to sort of, you know, doing things before like Spartans and all the different kind of things like that, it's like, alright, it's a cool setting, but it's not a point in history that I'm particularly invested in. I'm just like, I know of it. But, you know, whereas Vikings, you know, like, I've been watching the TV shows, I've been reading, like, you know, like Norse mythology and stuff like that, and like the reference points that I'm playing through in like Valhalla, they're actually places that like I'm like, oh, I know that place, or like, oh, I just saw that on like a documentary or TV show. So I feel like from a narrative point of view, I'm so much more invested.
Because it's something that you know. It's something that you know.
Yeah.
And I think, speaking on that, I think that's why the next game I'm going to speak about is Watch Dogs Legion. But I think because I live in London, it's like, yo, how could I not want to play this game? You know what I mean? There's like a sentimental value to it, and I would say that Watch Dogs Legion, it could really, I'm speaking like metaphorically here, not metaphorically, theoretically, like it could be shocking. The game could just suck, but I'm still gonna buy it and I'm still gonna enjoy it. Simply because I can just go from Brixton to bank station. I could go like I can just travel and explore, see what I can see in Camden, see how realistic they've gotten it. So I think I get what you mean. Because not to say that you are a Viking and there's sentimental value there.
Hey, I mean that's part of it, man. That's part of it.
I get what I get what you mean. You've played it, right? You've played Valhalla. You played both,
a little
right?
bit Watch Dogs and Valhalla, like previews and stuff. So,
Which one do you prefer?
I prefer Valhalla just because obviously like I'm more invested in like the Assassin's Creed series. I haven't played I missed a couple of them, but like I'm more invested in that regard, and obviously with the whole like setting and stuff. But Watch Dogs was super cool for that same reason, that like the amount of times I have to play open world games and I have to drive on the wrong damn side of the road because everyone's like, hey, we're gonna drive in the States. Like, finally, you guys are gonna drive on the right side of the road. You guys are gonna learn to drive. You guys have to deal with roundabouts. Americans don't even know what a roundabout is. Like, this is what I mean.
I've never been to America, and I feel like I don't want to go. That's like the last place I want to go right now.
That's driving easy mode, mate. America is just straight lines, wide roads.
Yeah.
Like, you come to London, everyone's gonna be like a bowling alley, like wow.
So Assassin's Creed Valhalla is more your speed, is it?
Yeah.
When they swap to like the RPG sort of like tripling down, because I was looking at the Assassin's Creed 1 the other day, and looking at this, I was like, yo, when they showed it at where did they show it? Ubisoft Forward, or what was it called?
Ubisoft Forward. Yeah.
When we got the Bruck Up E3 conferences, it was just disappointing. When we got those, when I saw Valhalla, I was like, yo, if you didn't tell me that this was an Assassin's Creed game, I wouldn't have guessed it, honestly. But saying that, if I said to you, this game looks very, very Ubisofty, does that make sense to you? Like, because it makes sense to me.
There's this interesting, like, I enjoy a lot of Ubisoft games, but there's an interesting, the only way you can describe it is like an Ubisoft jank to the kind of angle. There's a certain, and I guess it depends. I guess that ultimately derives from like the engine they're producing, right? There's a lot of like Assassin's Creed, like they've improved a load of things, like there's a load of like gameplay improvements, but it still has that slight janky feeling to it. That doesn't impact my enjoyment. But it's definitely, it's that, I know exactly what you mean when you say that thing, yeah.
Another company that does it also is Sony. Sony, like, I would say, if you look at like Horizon, if you look at God of War, if you look at The Last of Us, especially with their menu systems, they're always quite like streamlined. They're always sort of similar in a sense. But like Ubisoft, I feel like it's like you would just know every single time. Like Far Cry has this like Ubisoft feel. I hope what I'm saying makes sense. I really do. I know what you mean. It's got like a, it's got
I think more so in the Ubisoft space than like the Sony space, because obviously Sony's divided into different studios and they use different engines. But definitely in Ubisoft, there's a lot of like shared tech, shared engines and stuff. And if you kind of get those same kind of thing as if you go back in the day and you look at like all those games that are built on like Unreal Engine. You know, they'd always be that thing like you load into Gears and just before the textures load, everything looks like super smooth and then like it pops in. That was always the Unreal Engine like jank angle to it, right? It's like you could always get that feel, and I think it ultimately kind of just comes from the engine.
Yeah. Okay, so out of 10, what's your hype level for Watch Dogs Legion?
Watch Dogs Legion is kind of more like a 7 for me. Like I'm excited for it from like in a similar reason to you. Like it's in London, like it's really really cool. But I think one of the things they're going to struggle with is, and this is something that people have spoken about in the review, it's like it's a cool concept to be like, oh, you can play as anyone in the game, but then by playing as anyone in the game, you're playing as no one, so you don't have a main character to attach to.
Yeah, I've got that written in my notes here as well. It's like, what I have written is, in theory, it sounds cold. Like it's like, yo, you can play as anyone, but how does it actually work in practice? Is it something that's enjoyable in practice? Like how? Yeah. Who knows? So you're giving it a 7. I've given it a 6.5 to be honest.
Okay, fair.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Do I dare ask, what do you give this out of 10?
Excitement for it. At the moment, I'm still putting it sort of like I want to say like an 8.5 right now. Yeah. Because like I'm super excited for like the theme and stuff, but obviously again there's still like a lot of unknowns, and there is the elephant in the room that like now that Ghost of Tsushima is out, they've done Assassin's Creed really, really well.
Yeah.
Right? But it's almost like Valhalla would be a great game on its own. It wouldn't even need to be an Assassin's Creed game, to be fair. But I definitely put it more like 8.5 though.
8.5? I've given it an 8, to be honest.
Okay,
I've given it a strong 8. Now shout out Ubisoft, because they're gonna have a good month. I think they're gonna have a very good
definitely.
month. Next question. What's your biggest gripe with gamers, or what's like your pet peeve with, like, I'm talking about the actual people of the community? If one like comes to mind immediately, and don't hold back, I want you to be as honest as you can here. Yeah. So it's not with.
I got a long list. Hey, you got time.
So what's atop that list?
I'm joking. Now the top of this, honestly, it's just like, and I get right. It's a weird thing to try and navigate, because I get that like people have got financial investments. They'll pay for a game, and they want something out of it. But the thing is, and I think a lot of this has come from the mixture of like social media age, and also the combination of when people start introducing games as a service, right? Like nowadays, people expect them to buy a game, and they expect that game to give them like 1,000 hours, right? Like, it is mad to me to think that somebody will look at a game and be like, I only get 20 hours, like this is mad, like I'm not getting value for my money. Divide that $60 into 20 hours, you're still getting value for your money, right? Yeah. But the crazy thing is, like, okay, I get some games come out buggy, some games come out with issues, some games, they're launching like far too soon. Like, I'm not saying people are not like rightful to be angry, but there's the amount of entitlement these days that you'll hear when someone's like, oh no, this is unacceptable. Like look at when Cyberpunk was delayed, right? Yesterday, it's like, all right, cool. It's annoying. Some people were like, this is unacceptable. I took time off work for it. It's like, all right, cool. I get you have to book time off work. I get that I get you have to book time off work. I get it's not easy, and I get like to then suddenly ask for like 10th of December close to Christmas. Maybe it's not possible, but it's like you're realizing that like you can have frustration, but then some people take that frustration
a little bit too far. Like I see on Twitter today that people are getting sent death threats and that. I was like,
it's
crazy,
man.
Mad? Like, I feel like people forget that we were supposed to get Cyberpunk in September, right? We were supposed to get Cyberpunk in September, and we've done fine to wait for it. We've done fine to it's just, we just know it's coming. We know it's coming. Yeah. It's not like, it's not the end of the world. We've got so many games coming, and I tweeted yesterday that when it got delayed, bare content creators were like, oh, thank God. Mate,
I can manage. Now I can probably juggle November. Yeah,
exactly. Because I know there's
so much the death threat in this thing is stupid, man. Like people just take it too far. Like I get you're passionate about games. Like, I'm massive fans of games, but I would never. Like I'm a huge Zelda fan, but if suddenly they were like they push back Zelda, I would never do that. But like everyone just because you're behind a picture, because you're anonymous online, you feel like you're a big man and you can say whatever you want. It's like no. Like, if you were literally in front of the developer and they said it to you in your face, was like, sorry guys, I'm delayed until December, are you really going to drop a death threat on them in their face? No, you're not. You're going to be like, okay, man, don't worry about it.
Don't worry. But that's the thing, man. The anonymity online makes people feel like they're invincible. They're invincible. And not even on a sentimental thing, sometimes I believe that if you can't hack it online, then by all means, just log off sometimes. Words still hurt, but like sometimes you need to take yourself away from that situation. Definitely. But people just thinking that they can say whatever they want, and not receive some sort. I just don't get it, because I'm struggling to get my words out, because I just don't. When people behave a certain way online, I just don't understand the mindset behind it. It's confusing. It's boggling. Like,
the weird thing is, it's like, because it's the fact that they forget that there's someone behind the camera. It's the same thing for like when they throw like slander at like content creators and stuff. They'll be like, a content creator might not share your opinion. They'll be like, all right, I don't like this particular game, and then suddenly they'll be like, you're the worst person. Like, you're gonna like they're just like they'll slander and like throw things at you. It's like, at the end of the day, like you're a person, you've got your opinions. Like it doesn't like you don't like the video, you don't like the opinion. You can just not watch it. You can just go somewhere else. Like it's just like people seem to take it as like a personal slight, and it's just like it's so crazy to think that like you wouldn't behave that way if you were in person with anyone. You'd just be like, all right, cool, you know, like, so why do you think you can just do it online? And then, yeah, it's mad.
Hey, listen, they know there's not a fist waiting for them. That's why. They know they won't get banged in their face. That's why. That's why they don't say it. That's why they don't say it, because, boy, of course, have your opinion, but I'd say, like, and I feel like sometimes something, you could say, things often get misconstrued online, yeah? So you could say something without malicious intent and it will still come across online as something that's like an attack. Even if it could be just a normal opinion, it could be like, oh, you know, that's a bit of a wayward statement, but that's the thing about online. You never really know. There's no context sometimes behind how people are saying things, and that's why it's a vicious place to be. There's a game that I love, and it got away from me, yeah? It got away from me. And I've been playing it since the beta. I played through the first one, and the second one has been out for a few years now. Do you know what game this is I'm talking about? It's got a DLC coming out.
First beta, second beta.
No, I played the first beta. I've played it since the first beta.
Okay. I'm trying to think. No, I'm not sure.
It's got a DLC coming out. Okay, so Destiny.
Oh, of course. All right. Yeah. Of course.
So
right.
Destiny is a game that I love. I've always loved it. It's one of those games where I would say it's probably one of my favorite games, like, ever made. Yeah,
okay.
Ever made. And they just fucked it up, bruv. I'm not gonna lie, they just fucked it up, man. I'm not gonna lie. It could have been something so much better, yeah. And I'm glad now. So Destiny 2 Beyond Light is coming out on the 10th, and it's looking good. They dropped a Viaduct yesterday, and it's looking good. Did you watch it by any chance?
I haven't seen it yet. No. I'm a little bit behind. It's weird, right? It's funny because I used to be big on Destiny. Obviously, I was playing since like the first alpha, the first beta.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, like I was playing it, I knew everything about it, I knew the game inside out. You
Yeah.
could rattle off like all the specs and stuff. Like, I'm so behind now. Like I fell off at like Black Armory.
Yeah.
And I just haven't been back since. I watch the updates, I watch things from afar, but I just you ever play like an MMO and you jump back in the game and then all your key bindings are messed up, all your skills are reset. You're wearing like your like skill tree is like 5 pages deep and you don't know where to spend your points. And you're just like, what is this game? So you log back off. That's me in Destiny now.
That's it. I get what you mean. You also get left behind quite quickly as well.
Yeah.
Especially with Destiny, where it's like they're dropping a new season throughout the year every few months, which changes so many things. You hop back in and you're like, what is going on? But Destiny 2, they are stripping like the game like all the way back now. So they're getting rid of like more than half the content. It's to stop, you know, that like choice fatigue. What do I do when I come back to this game? What am I actually doing? So they're getting rid of like all of the content, and so it's like, okay, boom. When you come in, you should know what you're doing straight away. Destiny's lit, man. I'm not gonna lie. I wish they had a better run, but it looks like they took a break and now it's like, okay, we're about to go hard again. Probably the biggest part of November is the fact that we're getting 2 consoles, a whole 2 new consoles, which, you know what, yeah, the pre-order thing right now is just a bit mad. It's just mad, bruv.
Busted, man. It's busted.
It is an extreme sport trying to get a PlayStation 5 pre-order right now. I'll tell you this for free, bruv. I remember, yeah, like, I think it was like the second day. Like 3 days after, I was on a game website, and no, I was at work on the game website because they had made a Curry's. It was the Curry's.
Oh, you Curry's on the queue system.
It was Curry's queue system, and I was like, oh shit, I'm in the queue. I'm at work. I'm serving a customer. I'm like, oh shit, can I might be able to order a PlayStation, lads. What go on, yeah? And then it got to, so I'm closing a sale with a customer now, And then I say to the customer, listen, I've just got to pop in the back quickly. I'll go and get your phone. I'll buy your phone, innit? So I say, I'm going to go get your phone. And so I go into the back now, and I'm like 10th in this queue. I check now, it gets to like my turn, and the whole thing just crashes, bro.
No.
When I tell you, I feel like someone slapped me. Like, that's what it felt like. That's I was like, bruv, what is going on, yeah?
That is emotional.
So to this day, to this time right now, I don't have any of the new consoles pre-ordered, mate.
Really?
It's not like some that get them for free and them things. You get me? It's not like some that get them for free and that. My one got lost in the post. That's all I'm saying, to be honest. That's
you might be sitting behind me.
What are you saying about? Let's start with Xbox first, yeah. Considering you just posted an Xbox video, so chat to me a little bit about why go on with that.
So I mean, obviously, I haven't had a chance to like turn it on yet because I can't like. There's only so much I can do right now. So I've basically just unboxed it. So like I've just got it as a tower. It looks cool. Like it's a nice looking unit. It's just Xbox. Go on.
Now I was saying, what do you think of the size like of these consoles at the moment? Because what everyone's saying that the PlayStation is wham, bruv, and I'm like,
it looks ginormous, mate. Like the Xbox is like pretty standard size. Like, it's obviously because they're going for more like the rectangular box look now.
Yeah.
Like height wise, it's the same as the Xbox One X. It's obviously like if you put the Xbox One X sideways in like a media center, then you're going to be struggling. But if you're just standing it side by side, it's pretty much the same.
Yeah.
But the PlayStation, I haven't got one yet, but like I've seen it side by side. Like it just looks ginormous. Like, I'm saying, right. One thing I'm saying, if the PlayStation's that big, if it even makes the tiniest sound, because the current PlayStation sounds like a jet engine. You're running it. I'm trying to play like the final games. It's just like.
I had to play Last of Us 2 with headphones because listen, I've got a standard PlayStation. I don't have a PlayStation 4 Pro. I've just got a standard one. I'm telling you, it was like vibrating. It was ready to fall apart, bruv. I was like, this is.
When I was trying to record videos and playing those games, like I used to have my PlayStation on my desk next to my monitors, and it kicked up so much noise that I couldn't even use Audacity's noise removal to get rid of the noise. So I had to put it under my desk and out the way. And even then I can still hear it. So so if that PlayStation isn't like silent on everything, then I'm just like, what is the size for?
But the fans look mad though. Like when they posted that teardown video, I was like, yo, I'm not gonna lie, this is looking like it's gonna make bad noise. Does it look like it's gonna make so much sound? Yeah, but I think that the design is nice, man. I feel like I was the only person who said it was like, I was like, yo, this is looking clean. Like this is really looking nice.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people like talking about the size, but I said, you need these are consoles coming out, yeah, that are they're trying to go up against PCs now, yeah.
Yeah.
PC like they're in the same race now. PCs used to just be like they used to be off in the distance, but now PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S and X, because I hate these names, by the way. Series X,
Xbox 4,
Xbox 4, PlayStation 5, and PCs are now running the same race. And it would be impossible, I think, to compress the size and still get the amount of performance. Because it has to.
You're probably gonna. You have to compromise somewhere, right? But then also don't feel like they got to make it slightly big so that in a couple of years they can sell you the Xbox One X, the Xbox Series X Slim and the PlayStation 5 Slim, right?
Deeper. I've understood it now. I've understood it. Which one out of the two are you leaning more towards, though? Because you know me, I'm a. I feel like people like. Everyone's doing this whole, and I've seen you tweet it as well, yeah? Everyone's doing this whole, guys, we're all just gamers.
Hey, we're just gamers, man. But if I had to really pick, I'm a Nintendo fan.
Okay, nah, I don't like that. I'm
already in the next generation with the Nintendo Switch, mate. I've been next generation for years now. I'm just sitting here, next gen experience, the definitive gaming experience on my hand. I'm here.
It's true. I'd say that with me at the moment, finishing a generation, it is PC. I'm a PC gamer, and if you were to ask me what console I play, I'd say I play a Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, that's similar with me. Like, yeah, like I think to ask you a question about Xbox and like PlayStation, like, because it's funny because back in the 360 days, like I was Xbox for everything. I would literally only touch my PlayStation for the exclusives, like Uncharted and things like that, and then it was like Xbox for everything. Yeah. But then obviously now that Xbox is just like, well, you can play our games on PC. I'm just like, well, I'm on PC now, so it's like PC, PS4, and Switch.
Yeah.
Is your camera good?
Yeah. No, continue.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah,
I was literally just checking.
Yeah. So I'm good on that one. And then like, but yeah, so definitely now like leaning to the next generation, especially given the way that the game's set up right now. Like obviously we've got the Xbox Series X, which is super exciting.
Yeah.
But in terms of first party games, they don't have anything until next year. So it's like, all right, so the PlayStation means I've got Spider-Man, I've got Demon's Souls, I've got Godfall. Whereas Xbox is like, I can play Valhalla, cool, but I can also play it on PC. So I'm excited for it just from a sheer gaming and tech point of view because I love new consoles and I'm excited to see what it can do. But in terms of like, if I had to choose one, it would be the PlayStation right now because they've got something that I just can't get anywhere else.
That's it. That's the answer we needed. I would have said, listen, we're cutting this off right now. It's good speaking to you, buddy. I'm out of here. But it's gonna. If you said Xbox, I would have said, nah, get out of here. Yeah, I'm a big PlayStation fan, man, for the exact same reason you just said. Did I send you a copy of my notes? Because I feel like you're literally just wheeling off my notes right now. Yeah.
Hey, maybe, mate.
Yeah.
I'm looking through the reflection in your window. Outside the notes you see.
Nah, do you know what it is? Yeah. Xbox, as you said, you have a PC as well. Xbox Game Pass, phenomenal service, which is teaming up with EA Play
Access,
EA Access, and I think that's such a mad move from them. But the thing about it is EA Play, at the moment that's bringing bare old games, and I'm not a man that likes to go back to games. You know, I'll play one game, and I don't care how sick it is. Yeah, I would speak about a game like The Last of Us 2, for days and days and days. But I'm not gonna go back to it. You know that. I'll play it one time. Yeah. Are you the same with games? Are you like a big replayer?
Basically the same. Yeah, like I very, very rarely ever go back and play like a game a second time, even for the games that I love. Like the exceptions for that are like Ocarina of Time, my number one like game of all time. Like I've played that through so many times. And like Metal Gear Solid 4, weirdly, like the week it came out, I completed it like 3 times. But outside of that, most games I'm just done. Like I finished it, enjoyed it. I'll just remember it.
Yeah, and I think that's the way forward. Yeah. Okay, saying that because I have a hot take for you. Yeah. I have a hot take. How do I word this now? Remakes and remasters, I'm not with it, bro. I'm not.
I'm with you there, man. I'm with you there.
Are you serious?
I'm with you, right? For the most part, like, the thing is, right? Because this is something that I realised. There's some games that I'm like, I want to remake, I want to remaster, I want to re-release. Because you remember the nostalgia, right? Like even some of our favourite games. Like, but I will go back and I'll be like, like let's take the new Mario collection, right? I'm like, you know what? Mario 64, sick game. Sunshine's sick game. If anyone that says that Sunshine's a bad game, they are wrong. Tell them to shut up. Like Sunshine's a sick game, right? So I'm hyped for it. I'm like, you know, I will definitely play it on Switch. But then it comes out, and then you start it, and the nostalgia initially is there, but then you're just like, it's just not enough. Like it just doesn't. Like, and you just don't play it. And I'm just like, I get that there's kind of gaps in between stuff, but I would rather they just focus their development efforts on just making new games. Like, this has been the year of the remaster.
Do you know what? Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Me and you are, when it comes to gaming, I think me and you are very alike. I feel like, because you're the first person I've heard agree when I say that, because everyone's caught in the nostalgia. You're saying it like verbatim how I'm saying it in my head as well. Like, the nostalgia will poison your mind to think that it's gonna work. You can't play games like when you go back to like an old game, regardless if it's been like if it's just like if it's a remaster, that's not gonna work, because we're playing games where there's been generations of tech improvements. Graphics ain't gonna back it enough to say this you're gonna enjoy this game again, maybe. Remasters, no, remakes, like the Final Fantasy that came out recently. That is like a whole different situation, I'd say. That's like a whole different situation. But even still, 100%. I'm like, nah, I'm not with it, you know. I'm not with it.
Those ones definitely though. Those ones definitely really work. Because the same thing with like Link's Awakening that came out. Like they put like a new spin on it. And I played through and love that one.
Yeah.
I do think the key that I realized like for me, but this isn't for everyone, right? But like, for me, the key to nostalgia, like if you're gonna go back and play an old game, you need to have previously played it in the past to have that connection. Like I can't use remakes and remasters as a means to play a game I've missed. Like if I go back and I tried to play Final Fantasy VII, I never played Final Fantasy VII, like the original one. So like if I try and play that, it doesn't matter how hard I try, I can't play it because I don't have that original connection with it. But I can still go back and play Ocarina of Time, which someone will be like, "Oh, that game is kind of janky." I'm like, "It's fine, I remember it." So. But yeah, you're definitely right. There's the nostalgia like glasses that like it's funny because I'll still get excited for it. Like they'll announce a remake and I'm like, yo, I remember this game. This is sick. And and I'll pre-order it. I'll buy it. And you know, I'll even buy the collector's edition. It'll come on the day. It'll be sealed. Yeah. And it's still sealed.
Still sealed. Like, why are you gassing about you're buying games for? You don't buy games, blood. You just get
wait. Hold on a minute. Right? Hey, listen. I'll tell you. Yeah, you know what? I'm very fortunate. I do get given my games for my review stuff. But you know what? All the games that I really, really like that I want to play, like I've also pre-ordered like the collector's edition or like some kind of edition. So I got all my Nintendo Switch games on the shelf because I'm like, I want the boxes, man. I'll still buy some of them.
I hope you know I'm bantering when I say this.
No, of course, I know.
Because
it's
definitely. I know you've worked incredibly hard to like put yourself in the position that you're in. So we're gonna round it off with saying that we're both more hyped for PlayStation for the similar reasons in that Xbox and PC seem to be clashing like right now, and I don't know. It's put me in a very weird place because you say you want to go to PlayStation because of all of the exclusives, which seems like the smart thing to do, and Xbox has exclusives, but it just doesn't have as many for one, and the exclusives that are coming out already have a system to play them on, being the PC.
Yeah,
when Halo 5 Infinite comes out, it's coming out on PC. What do I need an Xbox for? I don't know. Like this is, and I'm not trying to diss Xbox at all because it was actually my first console, so I can't diss it at all. But right now I'm a bit confused. The only reason I'm buying an Xbox is for the controller. That's the only reason, because I want to plug the controller into the PC. But that's the only thing. Yeah, that's the only.
I think they know that though. Cause I think at their heart, like Microsoft are basically a software company first, which is why they push Game Pass so hard, right? Yeah. They're like ultimately. That's why they released two versions of the console. One that's like a lot more affordable. They've made it so the first year you can go back and play games on the older systems. They're like. Ultimately, obviously they want to, from a business point of view, they want to make sales, but they're just like, we don't care if you don't buy the Series X, because provided you're playing on our platform in some capacity, on PC, on your smartphone, on like here, like we don't care, because we've got your money either way.
The monopoly is here. My hype level for PlayStation 5 is like 11 out of 10, just throwing it out there. Hype level for Xbox was an 8. It was an 8. I gave it 8 because, like you said, I'm just a lover of like new technology. When new stuff comes out, and I'm so happy that the people who are Xbox fans are gonna be able to, like, who play on the people who are console fans. Actually, I'm gonna speak now broadly for both PlayStation and Xbox. The people who are console fans are like gonna get such a tech bump, like a bump in power. That like it's gonna be insane for them. Right, there's a game coming out. There's a game coming out called Godfall. There's a game coming out called Godfall, yeah? And the game is looking bad boy. But, to me anyway, and to you, but why is no one respecting this game right now? I feel like no one's giving Godfall any love, and it's starting to jar me. Every time I tweet about it, I'm hype, yeah? I see you tweeting about it, you're hype, you're in here active with the developers. And I'm seeing people like, Godfall's looking mediocre. It's looking like it's not gonna sell well. And the question is, have the games prior to Godfall left a bad taste in players' mouths for games like even though it's a looter slasher, but let's say looter shooters. So games like Anthem, when they started going left, Destiny had this like bad run. Are these games just hard to make, Or what's the situation? What are you saying? Why is no one hyped?
I mean, it definitely is. The difficulty as well is that a lot of people can't discern the differences as well. Because, like, Godfall is a looter game, but it's not a game as a service. So it's very different in that respect. It's not a game where, like, it works around a weekly cycle, where every single week you're getting your bounties and you're doing your stuff like that. Yeah. But a lot of people don't make that difference. They look at it, they're like, all right, it's loot, it's combat, I'm getting this stuff, it must be the same. And then they look at Anthem, and this is the weird thing. This kind of goes back to, like, you know, like earlier you were like, oh, what's some of your kind of pet peeves about, like, gamers and stuff? We spoke about one thing. The other pet peeve for me is that, like, people need to stop assuming that another game is going to fail just because a game of a similar type has messed up. Like, Anthem was a massive mess up, right? Okay, cool, you know. But the difficulty is as well is, like, you know, when like I was covering, like, I enjoyed what I played of Anthem, but we just didn't know what the end game was like. And then when it turned out there wasn't an end game, you're like, all right, cool. Then recently there was Marvel Avengers that came out, very similar kind of thing. We saw from the beta, wasn't necessarily going to be too deep. Got some enjoyment out of it. Again, I really enjoyed the story. Like, I had a great time playing it. But there wasn't much to kind of keep you going. So a lot of people... But it goes back to that thing again, where people are assuming that these games have to give you, like, thousands of hours. Like, even Anthem. Like, take Anthem, right? Like, massive failure in that respect. But at the same time, most people even the people that hate the game, probably got about 40 to 60 hours out of the game, which is your average game length. Yeah.
I didn't get that far in Anthem, you know. I got to... Do you know what? Yeah, I don't know if you remember when the game first came out. Like, when you were in a party, you couldn't, like, fly away from your teammate. Do you remember that? If someone went too fast, you just
whack.
I was just like, what's going on here? And the questing was dead, and the whole thing was mash up. And this really gave. Like, when people would say, like, see, like, in a development team, there's people who design quests, I have to give them so much more respect now, because I've seen what it looks like when there's a bad quest designer on a game.
100%, 100%. But that's the problem, though. It's like, you have stuff like that, and then a lot of people, and I get it, right? Because for some people, you know, like, I'm in a fortunate position, you know, I might be given games, or I've got, like, you know, the income to be able to buy the games that I want. You know, I get, for some people, they might be like, I need to buy this game, and this is the only thing I can afford for the next few months, so it needs to last me. So I completely get that, right? And if they buy that game and they're burnt, and, like, if it's something like Anthem where you've redeemed a code, you can't even get a refund, then it's like, all right, cool, you're screwed. So I get wanting to be... But the thing is, right, so, like, I get wanting to be cautious, and it's cool. Like, if you just don't want to buy it on day one, that's completely fine. But it's the fact that there's a subset of people that are just hating it. Like, this game is going to fail because it looks like this game. It's like, no, like, you haven't played it. None of us have played it. We don't know from it. Like, all you're seeing right now is gameplay clips. There's some things that people might have, like, mentioned. They might be like, oh, some of the combo chains when you're attacking look a little bit, like, repetitive and it's basic. All right, cool. That's something you can point out as feedback. But outside of that, we don't know what the loop is like. And, like, there is sometimes the danger where when you get very close to launch and you don't know a lot, you do have to start asking questions. But at the same time, it's like, where, like, for me, like, gaming isn't that deep for me. Like, it's literally, I'll play a game. If I enjoy it, cool. If I don't, I'm just going to put it down and play something I do enjoy.
Exactly.
Like, it's not going to... Some people act like if they've bought a game and it's bad, it's like that game has gone and, like, kicked their dog or something, or just, like, gone and, like, slept with the other half or something, or just done something just mad. It's just like, no, it's a game. Like, just... play something else. Like, I mean, so that seems to be why people are, like, hating on Godfall at the moment. They're just like, they're assuming it's another Anthem. They're assuming it's another thing like that, and we don't know what it's going to be like. You know, it could come out and it might not be great, but from what I've seen, I like everything I've seen, so I'm excited for it, and that's enough for me. Like, that's the thing. For me to be excited about a game, all I need is a good gameplay trailer. Give me one gameplay trailer. I don't even need to see loads.
Yeah,
I see that, and I'm invested.
They've been doing a lot of teasers, and the teasers are looking quite good. I'm not gonna lie. When I saw the hammer, I went.
Yes.
I said, that's it. I said, listen, when I saw the hammer, I said, okay, this is looking like a bit of me. And then you done the video with, who did, their senior game something?
Dick Hayne is the technical producer at Counterplay.
So when I watched that one as well, that's another thing, like, one more thing with you, like, I actually watch your videos, like the entirety, because you actually make content that I like, if that makes sense.
I see.
And, so I watched that video, and like the things that you guys were speaking about, I was like, yeah, man, I'm with this. And then, what's the most recent video you done? What's the most recent one you've done for Godfall?
We took a look at the loot the other day. We finally got to see menus and skill trees and all that stuff.
Listen, I haven't seen your loot video for that one. I saw IGN's one, because I'm assuming you guys got given, like, everyone got given, like, a was it a trailer everyone got sent or something, or like?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
So everyone got
IGN
the
got
same
exclusive
like
one,
pack
but yeah.
basically. And when I started to see menus and I started to see numbers and I started to see perks, I was like going, yo, you know,
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh man, I started to get, and it's the same thing with Assassin's Creed Valhalla as well. When I started to see like all the menus and like gear sets and stuff like that, man, I started losing my mind for Godfall. But back to the original point. It's only me and you, bro. It's only,
mate.
it's only
people.
me
This
and you.
is what I mean, right? A lot of the time we'll cover games and people will be like, this game looks kind of rubbish, and like Wesley. And like sometimes I might be excited about something that ends up being a bit rubbish, but sometimes I'm excited about stuff, and then only afterwards the people are like, this game's kind of good. Like when I first started covering Division 1, nobody was caring about that game. It was literally like me and like one other guy that were covering it. And then fast forward to when it came out, and suddenly everyone was like, okay, I'm listening now. It's like you know.
Nah,
I just want to enjoy games, man.
That's true. Yeah, I'm seeing bare people ripping Godfall though. I can't have this slander on my timeline, bro. I'm telling you.
But
now.
you know what happened? They'll rip it, and then they'll silently buy it, they'll silently enjoy it, and then they'll suddenly say they're the biggest Godfall fan from day one. Like, okay, man.
Do you know what? Another game as well, yeah? And I promise now it was only me and you, bro. On my timeline, you don't know this, yeah? It was Astral Chain, bruv.
Mate,
Listen,
that game.
It was only me and you.